Good morning and welcome back to World Lang Review Showcase Thing. Our first submission today comes from Seth Poulsen, who submits their Conlang Reformed Kadian. A galactic species called the Kadians developed a pseudo-language for talking to an artificial superintelligence called the Core. But the language was expanded and remastered for everyday use and became a new language called Reformed Kadian. So the orthography looks like this. There's only two characters, a sort of / and a / which indicate on-off states. All words and concepts are assigned a binary code based on how common the word is, with the common words having the smallest character count. Names are just words like beautiful that have a name modifier. Numbers are binary, with a number modifier. There's only 4 types of words: nouns, verbs, junctions, and modifiers. There's a group modifier which I believe kind of creates sentences, and an end modifier which signals the end of a sentence. So a basic sentence in Reformed Kadian would follow this structure. So if I were to say Sally, who had the red hair, kicked Bob hard, it would be formatted like Sally, hair, red, name, person, kicked, forceful, Bob, name, person, end. And for compound sentences, you simply go simple sentence plus a junction plus simple sentence. Text is written left to right, top to bottom, and speakers communicate in Reformed Kadian by their thoughts through their brain implants. So this is really cool, Seth. The orthography in particular is just really pretty. I want to make it my desktop wallpaper. So there's a whole bunch of stuff I was going to say about Reformed Kadian, like I don't really understand how it could be a language that could be used every day, since it reads like a computer language and not a human language, but you got around that with your brain implants. I was going to bring up a potential problem when new words are created. Where do they go in the ordering of words from most to least common? Do they get slotted in and everything gets shifted? And if so, how do speakers cope with that? But again, the brain implants is a wonderful tool to just get rid of all those concerns. So I've kind of no constructive criticism for you, just want to highlight your work. I think it's class, and that orthography again, oh boy. It's really pretty. Next submission comes via Keras Saryan, whose name I have definitely mispronounced. Apologies. They've submitted their Conlang Kamya, and in particular how their suffix ko works. Before I get into this, I'm just going to flash on screen how this was submitted to me. It's probably the most professional looking submission I've gotten on WLRST. It's so good. And each of the numbered examples here, they all came with individual audio files. Amazing work, Keras. Absolutely beautiful. So in Kamya, ko is a so-called focus suffix. So if you wanted to say something like, I pickled the figs myself, you'd say this. So that's one of the roles this suffix plays. It also marks intensifiers. If you wanted to say, they all hate you, emphasis on you, you'd say something like this. It's also used as a contrastive suffix. If you want to say something like, I don't know him, Halwa knows him, where you contrast I and Halwa, you'd say something like this. The suffix also works to create reflexive meaning. He killed him would sound like this. Whereas he killed himself would sound like this. Attaching the focus suffix to the oblique pronoun creates that reflexive himself meaning. Comparative and superlative adjectives in Kamya are formed with the k suffix. But if you add the focus suffix, ko, afterwards, you get like a forceful superlative. He is the tallest man I have ever met. Sounds like this. Again, I have no criticisms here. This is great. Beautifully thought out, superbly presented. Absolutely wonderful. You mentioned in your email to me that you think aesthetically the focus suffix ko produces kind of like ugly, unaesthetic sounds. I don't agree at all. I think it sounds absolutely amazing. So yeah, no constructive criticism, just simply beautiful. Next submission comes via Spencer O'Dowd, who has written a in-universe lullaby that a farmer might sing to his child. The language this is written in is called Haruto. It's a descendant of English that's mostly spoken in New England at the turn of the 31st century. About 1% of the world population are native speakers in this language in this setting. This is a traditional lullaby which a farming family might sing. Because of climate change, New England in this time is much warmer and wetter, and its southern hills are home to large amounts of rice farming. It forms one of the main staples of the New England diet. Spencer also submitted some sheet music and a recording of this lullaby. So I'm going to disappear for like a minute or so, and let's all have a listen.
Voache giarcho onza dartavna, onza parish raz. Lavleru moafish, taurin giar desenza foyar, giar chos of vechen, onza dartavna, onza parish ras. Vi bachzias tot zan zatiar zakuat giachlo en zaven. Raseje vas lavza vijeve lavza en vi chozas vi bachzaras.
The voice you heard there was a friend of Spencer's, a chap called Big Bong on YouTube. He has a language channel, go check it out, links in the description. So overall, Spencer, I really dig that. I think the language sounds great, and I think the music sounds really good. The only constructive criticism I would offer here is I would suggest reworking the range of this tune. As it currently stands, if I recall correctly, the tune has a range of about an octave and a sixth, so that is the distance between the lowest note in the tune and the highest note in the tune is an octave and a sixth. That is quite a big range for a lullaby, a tune designed to be sung by non-professional singers, and I can hear it in your singer's voice. He's kind of straining to get it out. I suspect that's because of the range. Makes it quite tricky to sing. My advice would be to keep it within an octave. Maybe a ninth if you want a high re-do cadence at the end, but beyond that I probably wouldn't go there. I mean, look at the likes of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, for example. Way under an octave works really well. Oh, and also I really dig the setting. Great work. Next up, we have a submission from Ava Henson, who talks about the practice of gift giving in their con culture. When invited over, it is customary in Mátémar culture to bring a gift. The goal of the gift giving is to thank the host and offer practical assistance in exchange for their hospitality. Side note, I hate non-practical gifts, so this appeals to me straight away. Some of the most common items given are tools, food, games, or on certain occasions, symbolic objects. Even diplomatic envoys and visiting dignitaries will hold this tradition, and often everyone in the party will present their own gift. So to avoid social or diplomatic blunders, social blunders, that's something I'm all too familiar with, unfortunately. Certain steps must be followed to show proper appreciation and to not embarrass the gift givers. So step 1 is the take step. You don't refuse the gift, you hold out your arms and make eye contact until the gift is given, and you do not stare at the gift. I think that's a really cool little nugget there. It takes the social exchange out of the realms of materialism and into a more personable social sphere. I think that's really cool. It's not about the gift you're going to receive, it's the receiving of it. I like that. Or at least that's how I interpret it. Step 2 is the thank you step. You verbally thank the gift giver and you maintain eye contact. Only thereafter are you permitted to examine the gift. Next step is to test or taste the gift. This is to show the proper appreciation for certain items, and you can only taste or test. You can't do both. Maybe someone in this culture once decided to try and eat a hammer, and so they formalized a set of rules and be all like, nah, let's not do that. You test any tools or other items you can safely use in the given situation. If someone hands you a weapon, you do want to kind of test it out, but you don't want to test it out against the gift giver. Tasting is for any ready-to-eat food product, drinks, spices, herbs, that kind of thing. The exception here is rock salt and alcohol, which, although are food products, are usually given for symbolic meaning, so you're not expected to taste them. I think that's a really cool little bit of richness added to this kind of social contract. Love it. Next step is shake. So you grab your gift with both hands and you shake it as vigorously as possible without damaging the gift. The goal of this is to show excitement and gratitude for the gift you just received. And when you do shake the item, you want to shake the item in a natural way. If you do it in an unnatural way, it's kind of deemed a little bit socially awkward. And the final step is the share step. You show the gift you've given to the group around you. If it's food, you can offer to them to taste, which is not mandatory in this social exchange, but will be greatly appreciated by the gift giver. If at any point during the take, thank, taste, test, shake and share stages you mess up, i.e. you've accepted the gift wrong, the gift giver will start apologizing to you. At this point, you look them in the eye, you accept their apology, and then you start over at the taste test section. So I guess there's like an infinite loop that's built into this situation as well. Ava, that's just great. I have no constructive criticism whatsoever. It feels perfectly naturalistic to me. Yeah, just really cool. Well played. Last submission of the day comes from Ameha, who submits their world map. This is the Köppen climate map I've made for my planet Zuo'Hiraz. I just like your opinion if it's accurate and realistic considering the land formations, etc. I'm writing a fictional travel guide as if it's a real location that the reader can visit. Thank you. Oh, it sounds like a bit of diegetic world building. Would love to read that travel guide. So I like the map. My constructive criticism here would be to go back and watch my climate videos, because I feel like a lot of the zones are just a little bit too expansive, and some important ones that I think should be present aren't. For example, rainforests generally are confined between about 0 and 10-ish degrees north and south of the equator. You have them going up to a latitude that on Earth would be like southern Spain. That's too high, I think. Unless there's some good in-universe reason why this would occur, I would consider maybe reworking that. Also consider rain shadows on your mountain ranges. I would expect some deserts to crop up in the rain shadows of those mountain ranges in the applicable areas. So the short answer is go check out the video, I'll link it in all the usual places, and then maybe rejigger from there. Overall though, really cool. Get that travel guide made and send it my way. I want to read it. And that is that. WLRST number... I've lost count what number we're on in this series. Another WLRST done. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you very soon. Until next time, Edgar out.